Hey everybody, Rhadamant here. Thanks for tuning in to Space Haven, a Let's Play tutorial series. So since last episode, the game has updated, and if you take a look at resource here, you've got the water collector, which helps to reclaim water vapor from your ship, primarily from your farms. I am going to be working to min-max my resource efficiency this episode, which also means getting rid of a lot of these nice-to-have expansions that I was planning. Oof. Yes. So to go over some tips, for one, Max mentioned that I should maximize my efforts for farming for the most efficient growth rate. And I completely agree. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm also completely out of hyperfuel. So I'm not going to be able to do a system jump. It doesn't really matter because I'm at the dead end of the map, but I'm not going to be able to do a system jump until I get a little bit more of that anyway. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to relocate this pod hanger and min-max my farming so that my growth rate is higher. So if you take a look at the plants here, these growth rates are 100%. But to speed up the grow process, you can isolate it even better than I have been doing, and that's exactly what I will do now. Oh, also, we built the backup generator, so let's get that all connected up. Let me just pause a moment and link everything up the way it's supposed to be linked. There. So now we have a lot of redundancy here, where there's very few links that if they were cut, power would be cut to the entire ship. Tons of redundancy. Probably an unnecessary amount, but better safe than sorry, I suppose, right? Alright, so let's start salvaging this ship here while I relocate these pod hangers. Now, I did get a question about what is the cost of the relocating of stuff. What you got to do to relocate items, you don't lose anything necessarily in the resources, but you do use tools when you relocate items, which is infrablocks. So yes, I've been moving things around a lot, which means I'm burning through my infrablocks. However, I have loads of infra scrap. So with that in mind, it's not like I have a severely limited resource or anything like that. You know, I can go ahead and relocate as need be. Okay, I am going to reclaim this mining pod for now until some of the salvaging is done. But let's see about trades. No hyperfuel, no hyper... Wait, was that the same? Oh, they basically have the same goods to trade. That's kind of funny. So now with the 2 power generators, about the resource efficiency, the new water collectors are a little bit power hungry. So one thing to offset... So obviously building a lot of water collectors will help to conserve water so that you're not constantly in a struggle for ice. However, they do take a lot of power, so I would suggest building solar power panels to help offset the power drain that is water collectors. Just my 2 cents, I suppose. All right, one thing I'm going to do is an airlock for the pod hanger. I'm going to stick it here. And I'm going to move these pod hangers a little bit. So let's go ahead and relocate. And now that it's relocated, I can just move this one. And this frees up space around my farm, which is what I was aiming to do in the first place. So what I'm going to do here next, if I go to the wall segments, I'm going to do a spacesuit door right here to require a, it's a better airlock. It basically keeps the carbon dioxide on the inside of the farm rather than eventually leaking out through these closed vent, but still not really airtight doors. All right, the next thing I want to do, so the CO2 levels in here ought to be going up. So right now it's at 25, and we'll continue to read that. The next thing I want to do is to raise the temperature. Plants are going to like around 38 or 100 Fahrenheit, 38 Celsius. And the same can be said for meat. The meat prefers around 30 Celsius and the vegetables around 40 Celsius, but you don't want to get it above 40 Celsius because the plants will die. This is from Max's tips for growth rate. So we are going to maximize our efforts there. And then I also might need to clear out some of my current work, some of my current plant beds for water collectors, but I'll do that in a bit. I'm first going to focus on... okay, so let's dismantle this pod. Relocate over here. And then dismantle this pod and free up the same sort of area. So this farm will be for meat, because meat has a different... artificial meat has a different requirement than plants. And then the other one will be for plants. So I will have an excess of meat, keeping this symmetrical. But that could be my trade good. I can always trade away artificial meats, because they're actually quite valuable. And actually, taking a look, I don't have any spare. So now, when we enter this room, and take care that the arrows are correct. When we enter this room, we enter into a spacesuit, and as you can see, Leth here is in a spacesuit now. This is to keep. If we check the carbon dioxide, it is rising in the farm here. It's to keep the air where we want it to be. Okay, so let's dismantle this old pod here. And then set up the other farm in the very same way. So, place this with a wall and a spacesuit door facing inwards. Slow down time a little bit. And all the while, we are also salvaging this wreck here. So the other heater here for meat should be set around 30 Celsius or 86 Fahrenheit. I'll set it to 85. That's close enough. Now, once this is built, what we should be able to do is to keep considerable amounts of CO2 out of the core of the ship with those proper spacesuit doors. We'll see. Next up, we did want shields. All right, how's this little salvage project going now? Okay, we have tons to transfer, not much to salvage. So I would say the next most important is the shield generator. I'm gonna have it angled so that I could fit a scanner here, but I'm not gonna build the scanner right now. The shield generator obviously will dramatically protect us from pirate attacks. That's going to be very important because there's a lot of profit in killing pirates. I'm not going to lie. There's also the possibility of taking prisoners. I have a barracks set up, of course, but it doesn't have any furniture, doesn't have a toilet or anything. It's not even designated because I haven't had any prisoners yet. Kind of a lower priority until I get said prisoners. I wonder why this, Oh, you know what? This ship looks dark. Have you gone dark? I'm a little concerned that my, I was sort of questioning why they were here for as long as they were. I guess if I had a scanner, I'd be able to tell. I'd be able to scan sweep it. I don't yet have a scanner, but that would be... Oh, dude. Jamie, what am I doing to you? Why are you... I'm doing something wrong. I am sorry, Damien. Go to sleep. Didn't notice that he was sitting on operations, which is where you would scan from. But I don't even have a scanner, so it wouldn't even... He was just... Okay, enough... Are you trying to hail? Why are you manning the operations here? I'm not entirely sure. I'll try to figure that out in a second. Everybody's manning operations. Oh, I think it's because I was trying to hail the ship, and I'm just not reaching them. It does make me think that something happened on their ship, like they ran out of food or oxygen or water or something like that, and they're kind of dead. It's possible. So I did mention one of the important things is going to be getting a water collector. So I'm going to nestle that in. And for this one, I'm going to set it to a high priority. I don't have, as you can see, I'm a little low on infra blocks. Alright, guys. Let's put... It's almost at the end of your day. Oh, you know what? I'll let you sleep. Because right now the shuttle's away. I kind of want to go investigate this neighboring ship. Because I do think that they're dead out of fuel. I'll put it that way. Operations offline, no workers. Trade's allowed, but I think something happened. And to be honest, I owe no allegiances to their faction. Which means, you know, if they're to be salvaged, they're to be salvaged. So if we take a look at the vents here, yeah, I can leave that one open. It doesn't really matter. As you can see, there is no... It doesn't even show that you have vents because of the suit doors. And let's go ahead and check the CO2 levels. So 25, 20, I guess it hasn't really flushed yet. But the temperature should be different. It is definitely warmer in the farms. The plants and the meat and all that prefer the increased temperature. Once we transfer the remainder that is on the Destiny Ascension, which I think is in this run, we're done. We'll go ahead and check out the ship that I have concerns about. So let's draft and enter. Now, they don't like us docking, but I don't think there's anyone over there to even dislike us doing this. Something tells... Oh, yeah, their ship is dead. It is a derelict. I'm not, again, sure what happened. It wasn't me. But yeah, they're totally... They've got pistols... And, yeah, they probably have a lot of weapons. Okay, well, one man's derelict is another man's treasure. I will salvage this ship, too. Oh, and they'll have some hyperfuel for me, which is great, because I was out of it. So, a weird blessing, I suppose. A very weird blessing, but I'll take what I can get. So I should pretty shortly have the infra blocks required, given my salvage, to be able to build what I need to build. Because, yeah, they'll have a lot of salvageable infra. The derelicts you happen upon, obviously, are derelicts because damage happened, generally speaking. Whereas when a perfectly fully built, capable ship, and granted, I could have claimed it, but I didn't really have the resources to then use it. But fully built ships tend to have more resources. So, you know, like if you're fighting a pirate ship, there's two ways to fight them. You can either board them and shoot them up, or you can, you know, hammer them with your weapons. If you hammer them with your energy turrets, yes, you will destroy systems on their ship. You will damage their ship. If you board them, of course, you risk the, you know, the lives of your own crew. That I will not deny. But their ship will more or less be fully intact, minus, you know, whatever bullets you put into the ship. Okay, so we'll just work to, and I'm going to keep it on max speed, salvage their ship, because Tony, Zarin, Mike, and Tarek all died. I'm also going to get some shotguns, because as you can see, Leth and Accidental Aggro don't even have weapons. So I was originally going to build a item fabricator, but decided that my infra would be better used elsewhere. I'm going to tell my botanist, Dennis Keith, to make sure that he is doing botany as a highest priority, just because there's no point in spending my power and my water and all that, my resources, essentially, and not focusing very carefully on my grow operations. Okay, we do have an incoming ship. The incoming ship might try to salvage the light link, but I don't really have claims to it. You don't get claims like that, so I ain't gonna sweat it. Now, if you wanted to do a full hostile playthrough, you could, of course, just shoot at everything. And to be honest, in this early access version of the game, it would be somewhat possible to go about that way. Okay, so they do have some hyperfuel. I desperately need hyperfuel, and I'm willing to trade the things I have in excess. Like here, have some human meat. Oh man, I have a lot of infra scrap, but what else do I have a lot of? I could sell some vegetables and fruit, because I am growing a lot. So let's take yeah, there we go. It's more or less a balanced trade. Okay, so the water collector is set up, and it is collecting water at the cost of power. And we'll get the other water collector on the other side. I'm not entirely sure that meat growth, I haven't, water collectors are brand new, and I haven't actually had the chance to experiment or read up on them. And I'm not 100% sure that growing meat puts off water, but I'm going to build a water collector on the other side anyway, because my guess is it couldn't hurt. Okay, so there's still a lot of resources over here to trade. We did get the shield generator up. So what you see here is Leth. If I go to these jobs, Leth, as you can see, is... Oh, he should not be charging the shields. Let's redo... the jobs here. I basically want to forbid everybody from jobs they're not great at, and then jobs that they're good at, make it the highest priority. So accidental aggro will absolutely be our gunner. Dennis Keith or Leth can navigate. Slobian or Dennis Keith can shield, and Damien will operate. And what they're doing here is they're sitting at the console, and see this blue bar here? This blue bar is my shields. He's basically sitting at the console charging up the shields. That's the way the shields work. And because I changed their work priorities, only Dennis or Slobian will be able to charge up the shields now. But yeah, it's going to be very, very helpful to get said shields all the way up, so that if we get fired upon by a pirate, instead of immediately going to our ship's stability, we get to mitigate the first, 20 or 30 shots with shields. Yeah, and here Dennis Keith is, and as you can see, he's charging it up even faster because he's more skilled at operating the shields than a tier 2 operator. Man, there's so much left to salvage. So the other water collector is built. And we are just trying to rip apart this ship and transfer its resources as fast as we can. It does take a while, but we are dismantling it, this android collective ship, as fast as we're able. So there is a pirate that has been hanging out in the next sector. Let's see. What did I queue up to build? We've got our water reclamation systems. At this point... Oh, the pirate's incoming. Perfect. I mean, this might not seem perfect to you, but I don't mind a fight. So once it gets a little bit closer, I'm going to tell my guys to, ready their weapons. I don't want to wake them up in the middle of the night when it's not coming for 3 more hours. Alright, so shields and turrets, we are telling them to man it. And then, as soon as the pirate ship shows up, let me slow down time and pause it. Select the turrets. Let's try to take their turrets out. They're already at half stability and basically no shields. So, my guess is I ripped them up. The other thing I need to do is, unfortunately, aggro is one of them, is to tell my remaining guys that don't have weapons to go pick up weapons. Unfortunately, I think the spare weapons are still at the enemy's, or the android collective ship. So I'm not going to sweat it, but it would be really, really good to, for everybody to have firearms, because if you're unarmed, you're just going to be the victim. So as you can see here, their ship is getting hammered at. Their stability is going down. They're trying to keep their shields charged up. And then on my ship, Slobian is recharging the shields as fast as he's able. And Accidental Aggro is just targeting their ship. And I think their ship is going to go pop here pretty soon. Now, one thing to mention, when you blow up their ship, don't immediately board unless you're readying for a big fight. Because just because their ship exploded doesn't mean the crew that's on it is dead. They can be in a suit, and they can survive in a suit for quite some time. So if you don't want that kind of fight, if you don't want to have to shoot through their crew, just wait. You know, be patient. Because I don't think that this the PCS Firebird is going to make it out. I'm pretty sure I'm blowing it up. As you can see, my shields have held the whole time. They're pretty low, but they've held. Alright, so the ship has been destroyed. As you can see, the stability went to 0. I'm going to tell... Okay, aggro immediately, automatically stopped firing upon the derelict ship. Now, I still have to be careful that they don't have a boarding crew coming over my way or something like that. I don't think they did. But in some cases, what will happen is they'll put their guys into a shuttle, and they'll still come attack you, even though you've blown up their ship. But I'm going to keep salvaging. Man, I'm not going to be able to jump once this episode because there's just so much to do. Wish more people were over here. Gonna crank up the forced work hours to try to get more of our guys on the shuttle over here, or on the light link, to salvage it. Another incoming ship, Military Alliance coming in. So they might pick through the pirate ship as well, which would be not ideal because obviously I want the spoils. I did the work, but I'm not about to pick a fight with them either over it. And maybe they'll have some good trades. You never know. So let's check in on our CO2. Yep, CO2 levels in the ship are slowly getting scrubbed and decreasing. Some places are a lot more CO2 than others just because it's further from a scrubber or whatever. Let's see. These guys, I will buy a few of their optronics components. And I'm going to sell my pistols and some soft blocks. Now, what I really need here, what I'm bottlenecked right now, is the... Where's my electronics? Is electronic components. I'm pretty bottlenecked. But they didn't have any of those. But the electronic components do get made into optronics. So if I buy some optronics, and now I have a total of 9, when I have electronic components, it won't get rolled into optronics. It won't get, you know, up modified or whatever you want to call it. That way, I might be able to keep some more of my electronic components staying as components. Alright, I'm going to expedite this. It does seem like the guns that I wanted got moved over, so I'm going to draft Leth. Draft Leth and tell him to pick up a gun. Pick up one of these shotguns. Just so that in the case of a, you know, an enemy raid, everybody is geared. No, I didn't mean to draft the shuttle. Yeah, here we go. Now, expediting. So much better. And then once Accidental Aggro is back on the main ship, I'll have him pick up the other shotgun. Getting the second shuttle will be really key as well. So when I really want the electronic components to build a second shuttle, because then I will be able to do more runs and strip ships quicker. Alright, is there anything else I could trade you? I could sell you some insect meat. IV fluids, because I have an excess of those. And that's it. I'll just take the credits. I must say, I really haven't traveled anywhere. I've just sat here salvaging and blowing things up. Sometimes that is the way. Okay, expedited transfer and salvage. We're almost done. As you can see, there's very little left on this ship. So the rest is just transferring of resources out to the airlocks. And picking up those resources via shuttle and bringing them back to home base. At this point, anyone that was on the pirate ship, because it's been several days, what accident was that? Oh, okay, no, it's fine. It's been several days. Yeah, the pirates are certainly long dead. I can't imagine that they would they'd still be around. Alright, so now the rest is all infra scrap, basically. Handy and useful. I do want infra scrap, but, you know, I would say if you think you're going to be attacked and have to leave a system, make sure to grab high priority resources first, you know, like hyperfuel or ice if you're running low on water or whatever. And then infra scrap is, you know, a little less important if you have loads of it. Alright, so the salvage is all done, and it's just a little bit of remaining infra scrap left to pull. Yeah, 14. And then, of course, my recycler has 88 backed up infra scrap left to process, which is quite a lot. That would be industry priorities here. I'm going to raise industry a little bit, just to make sure that... And it wouldn't hurt to have someone like Leth here be high priority logistics. Logistics is sort of like hauling and moving. And same with Slobian, because they don't have other tasks that are important. And that way we'll keep our airlocks clear of goods and have everything put into storage, which is important to sort of streamline the process. So at this point, yeah, it's actually warning me that I have a lot of infra scrap. At this point, aggro, we're going to have you draft and grab your gun. There we are. And then these 4 go into the shuttle. And we are going to go dock over at La Pirate. Now, I did mention that I think it's highly unlikely they're still alive, given that they've been iced for a long time. But also to say that if we headed over there immediately, there would have been, yeah, as you can see, they've suffocated or whatever. Probably a pretty grisly way to die. But there we go. The PCS Firebird has been explored. We are going to expedite the salvage and transfer. They have a lot more hyperfuel. They'll also have guns and all that jazz. And I'm going to force work on it so that we can start to pull those resources back. And as you can see, I think Wolf Bear is... I wonder how many infra blocks I have. Probably have a lot of infra blocks. 10 here. Yeah, I have like 12 or so. Yeah, I have a lot of infra blocks. And that would be what you know, one of the primary uses of infra blocks is for tools to move things around. because you make tools out of infra blocks to construct and deconstruct and move and whatnot. All right, so Tim Tam, Kwaku, Enola, and I are dead. And we'll just keep salvaging. 35 minutes and I haven't jumped once. I have, however, streamlined my growing operations a little bit. And done some water recovery. Another thing that would be really good for me to do so that I'm not using up a lot of my energy rods is, with some of the resources that I currently have, putting in solar power panels where I am able. So I might need to nudge some stuff around, because as you can see, I don't know, I guess I could nestle 2 panels in here. I wonder how... Well, I guess if I was building it, I could have hit V... No, because it's not built yet. It's hard to see the... Yeah, that actually might... No, that won't be a blocker. It's a very weird spot for it, but it won't actually block anything. Wow, look at my logistics overwhelming. Oh, my airlocks are just full of pirate bounty. Now, the other possibility is, of course, if I boarded them, there is a surrender mechanic. Some people surrender based upon their traits more quickly than others. Like, you know, hero is far less likely to surrender than someone who's like cowardly or iron-willed for that matter. But if you do surrender, if you yourself surrender to pirates, they can take you prisoner. And then if you get pirates to surrender to you, you can take them prisoner. There are sort of like slavers that you can sell prisoners to, or you can ransom them back to the pirates if you can get on speaking terms with the pirates, which is sometimes difficult, but yeah. Okay, so I think these solar power panels are get built. And this is to reduce the constant power needs that are required. And this will need to be linked up. There we are. Now the sectors have a solar output here. But with that said, I would still say they're worth it. Because if I check my power grid, as you can see, the solar power panels are providing some power, allowing the power generator here to idle a little bit more often. Idling, active. And of course, the more solar power that you have, especially if you are in a system with a, high solar output, you'll be able to dramatically reduce your energy rod power needs, which is going to be very, very helpful for you to not, to be more resource efficient. All right, so the salvage here is all done. Now we just need to transfer the remainder of the resources. The really important ones, I would say, would be the hyperfuel, the water. Infrascrap's a little bit less important. In fact, the game is telling me, hey, you have a ton of it. Are you sure you want more? Because if I take a look at my recycler, yeah, there's over 100 infrascrap on this ship right now. I do notice that I am running a little bit low on water as well. One thing I wanted to test. What is the... All right, let me check the comfort here of the water collector. right, let's try a water collector. I don't know if this is a thing. I'm sure a lot of you will have a response for me. But a water collector in my sleeping chambers to see if that starts pulling water. Because I know I'm critically low on water. And that's not a good thing to be critically low on. Because then you'll quickly run out of oxygen. I'm going to tell them to don't even bother with the infra scrap. I've got plenty of it. Save a little bit of logistics and all that. I'm also going to start butchering. It's pretty dark, but I'm going to start butchering the corpses of my enemies. Or whoever I got, because I can turn their corpses into meat for sale. Again, disgusting, but hey, I'm not eating it. So you can see on my kitchen, I don't have monster meat or human meat as a protein source. But I'll sell it to whomever wants it. You know, supply and demand. All right, so there's a few more resources left to pull from the pirate ship. We do have a Cult of New Haven ship coming in. Hopefully they'll have some ice or water to trade. If they don't, I'm probably going to have to do a bit of quick jumping to get to a system where I would be able to buy it or trade or mine it or something. But if you take a look at my my kitchen here, even though I have a dedicated meat growing room, I still do have artificial meat needs unmet. All right, let's see. This water... Yeah, this water collector is vital to human... yeah, it's collecting. All right, Bloody Rose. Do you have... No, you do not. But you do have some electronic components, which... I, being honest, grow tired of needing, so I will buy them. And I will sell you my excess weapons. Nothing like selling weapons to a cultist. I'm sure this won't turn out poorly. Look at the so yeah, the water collector does have a little bit of a negative comfort. I would say maybe it's not worth having in my... in my bedroom, because I'm sure it's probably noisy and gross. But I will, I'll put 2 more in the core of the ship to try to pull out any water vapor that I might be able to get. Jeez, there is no oxygen in there? There's almost no oxygen in here. These plants hopefully are appreciating the low oxygen environment. All right, so for transfer, we're almost done. Tim Tam, a few fabrics, or a few soft scrap, and infra block, and then we could be out of here, because I know my water is really, really low. All right, and now we also have 2 shuttles, because I bought all those electronic components, which doubles our ability to transfer. So we have the Heidi and Thames. All right, are we done? We are. Okay, so let's ready to jump. Let's ready to jump as a critical, so that we can get out of here. I am going to deploy to see if this... I think this is the same ship that I've been interacting with, the Military Alliance ship, but I'll deploy anyway, because this is the One-Eyed Wolf. Yeah, it's... let's get out of here as well. Now, you don't necessarily have to deploy everywhere you go. You can sit and jump to the next system without deploying. So if you can't take the pirates on, or whoever is at the location... okay, so there's no scrap left there, and this is the Military Alliance ship. And then the Cult of New Haven ship is coming in, so I could just redeploy again. Doing this, of course, Leth isn't getting his downtime, but given my severe lack of water, I think the jumping is in order. Let's see. This... almost fully salvaged. Nothing I really want. So let's keep going. And I am about to be out of time for this episode, but we'll just see if we can't get a little bit of water here. Yeah, I think all these ships that I've hit have been salvaged. Oh, this one's unexplored. All right, well, Leth, we will end here. I'll let you sleep. So, guys, that's about it for this episode. More to come. If you have any feedback for me, do drop me a line in the comments below. I really appreciate all your feedback and questions and support of this series. Just a little reminder to all of you, if you haven't hopped on my Discord channel, we are giving away a few copies of this for free in a raffle. I'll catch you all next episode. Thanks for watching. Adios.